Back with this afternoon's summer edition, and a very good afternoon to wherever you're tuning in across the Resonate Broadcast Network. And Nick, we got brought to a grinding halt last year, as a lot of people did, when we were travelling around our Olympic sports and catching in with a few of the stars of the show that was going to be Tokyo 2020. Now 2021, so we might restart that engine, mate, and today we're going to go shooting.
Yes, again, this is a sport that doesn't get much coverage outside of things like the Commonwealth Games and the Olympic Games, so it's always great to catch up with those who are good at it and discuss it.
Now, we've got an absolute star of the shooting game here with us today. He just missed out in the 2020 Olympics, has competed at 3 subsequent Olympics, is a gold medalist in the Commonwealth Games, and ready to rock and roll for 2021. That's Dan Repicoli. Good afternoon, mate.
G'day, guys. Good to hear from you.
Mate, shooting. Obviously, you've been involved in it from a very young age, and as I said, Sydney 2000, you were 17. Mate, tell us how it all began.
So pretty much I grew up around the pistol club. My mother worked as a nurse and worked night shift on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Dad would always take us to the pistol club because Mum would be sleeping. So, yeah, pretty much it just started from there.
And what sort of what sort of competitions are you doing as a youngster in shooting?
So I grew up in Melton in Victoria, and so grew up just doing club competitions, and then as I got better as a junior, we started to go to some local competitions around the state, so anything around the state, then state titles, and then move on from state titles to nationals, and then from nationals to international events.
Right, now I'm speaking to someone who's deeply ignorant of shooting at all. Are they like junior guns, or just the same weapons you're using the whole way through?
There are junior guns as well as senior guns. I never really used any of the littler guns.
Right.
As I am a big individual, I'm 6'8" and weigh 145 kilos. Like, I'm a big unit. So,
gotta say, I doing the research, before this interview with Watsy, I pulled you up and go, went, geez, he's a big unit. So
Take us back to the year 2000, mate. You were ranked very highly in Australia, #1 pistol shooter, and the 2000 Olympics was on your doorstep here in Sydney. What was that like as a 17-year-old, potentially coming on to the world's biggest stage at such a young age?
Honestly, it was daunting, to be honest with you. I sort of fell into the position. I found some form and won the nationals. I won 3 state titles out of 3 state titles I shot in around the country.
Yep.
So that put me in as the #1 ranked shooter. And I was shooting well, but then went overseas. You have to shoot an MQS, which is a minimum qualifying score to make an Olympic Games team.
Yep.
And so went overseas to try and do that, and unfortunately I just missed out. So, but in hindsight now, looking back, I didn't do the work. I didn't do the work to prepare myself to go to that Olympic Games. If I had have went to Sydney, it was probably the only Olympic Games I would have went to. I wouldn't have went to Athens, Beijing, London or Rio. So, looking back now, it was the best thing that happened. At the time, I was disappointed, obviously. Like, I flew over to Europe to try and shoot those scores I needed to and just missed out on it. So, but the guys that got to go, they'd been shooting a long time and deserved to go as well, rather than a young little punk coming up and taking their spot.
Mate, 3 Olympics, nearly 4, looking at 5th. Is that typical for a shooter's career to have such longevity?
So this will be my 5th. I have done 4. So I did do Athens, Beijing, London, and Rio.
Oh, yeah.
In general, shooters can. I started at a young age. Like I just missed out my first Olympics at 17 years old. So I could go through till I'm 50. I've shot with guys in their 60.
Right.
So, it just depends whether my wife will let me. So I'll keep going. I've retired a couple of times to try and spend time with the family. They don't really want me there. That's what I've figured out. So whenever she says she's had enough of being a single mother for at least a year before an Olympics and the Commonwealth Games, then it's time for me to retire.
And talking about your preparation for the Olympics and being away from home and work for so much of the year, is there much assistance out there for an Olympic shooter?
We do get help from our federation. We do get some help from the federation, so which is good. I have a fantastic employer as well, Double R Equipment Repairs.
Yep.
I can do my job pretty much anywhere in the world, and they're letting me do that. So
Fantastic.
I don't have to. I just have to do 4 hours on average, 4 hours a day when I'm in training, whether it's done all at once or whether it's done in sporadic times and things like that. So as long as our engineering branch is still running well, then they're happy for me to work it however I need to. And you find sponsors along the way as well. Like I've got a great gun sponsor, and then I've got some other great support around the place as well.
And what are the demands on a shooter physically? What are the things you work on to improve your shooting?
So pretty much is body awareness, body muscle memory, and things like that. So I am way overweight for what I should be for what I do, but I work with it. So I'm dropping the kilos currently and doing a lot of body work and a lot of muscle memory, things like that. And we all know how to shoot a shot. Like I could shoot a perfect shot. So I could do that once and I can do that 100 times. It's just whether my mind lets me do it 100 times. So a lot of it is that muscle memory and then working on your head, working on your approach and the way you look at what you're doing. We're
chatting to Dan Repicoli. He's in camp at the moment, Olympic camp in Brisbane. Dan, obviously everybody had the little speed bump that was 2020. You're all set for the games and it's been rescheduled now. Is the squad still the same as it was going to be last year?
Your shooting team hasn't changed. Everyone stayed in, which is good. We're not a sport which is reliant on physical, like your body's ready, your body's primed to go. Like we can be ready whenever we need to be, and work like that. So, and our team's a young team. We've got most of our shooters are all. I don't think anyone over 40 in the team. So, one female pistol shooter is over 40. But the rest of the team's all well and truly under 40. So, yeah, it's not really a big hassle for us.
Mate, fantastic story.
Mate, just one more question
He's got me.
Before you go. Have you still got that fantastic beard?
It's not a bad beard. I've been working on it for a while.
Doesn't catch the wind when you're shooting outside.
Nick's got a glorious beard as well. I think that's why he asked the question.
Nothing on yours.
Dan Repicoli, a member of the Australian shooting side team. Thanks very much for your time this afternoon. Insight into being an Olympic athlete and Olympic shooter, and we certainly wish you all the best at this year's revised 2021 Olympic Games.
No worries, guys. Thank you.
This is the summer edition heard across the Resonate Broadcast Network.